Today's June 30th. The peppers aren't doing a whole lot right now, so I'm just going to avoid them in this video. Move on to tomatoes. This is the dwarf row. Dwarf Beauty Kiss. I mean, it's a nice looking plant, just has some flowers, no fruit yet. This was supposed to be Crazy Calliope, but it is not correct. And it also has had the worst time with leaf roll with the heat that we had. It actually is the worst looking plant in the entire garden, although it is setting large fruit. So we'll see what happens. Dwarf Shimmering Beauty. Same thing, setting flowers, no fruit yet. Praxis Cherry. This has set fruit. Still needs trimmed away at the bottom. Has a lot of flowers on. This is Tempuri. There are fruits on. This one is getting not as much air as it needs because of the plant next to it, which is Microbec oximus. This guy needs tied back up. It is a beast. Putting on a ton of flowers, a ton of fruits. Really impressed with it. Next door is Wild Child. If you like cherries and dwarf plants, this might be the plant for you. I haven't gotten to try them yet, but they are starting to turn color. So I might get to have one soon. Same thing, this is kind of getting, dwarf green goose egg is getting strangled out by the plant next door. I was able to clean up a lot of the garden today, but I was out here for about 8 hours and it got too hot. This is the Royal Finger. It's also really prolific. A lot of fruits underneath. Pretty impressed with it so far. Mashore. Nice looking plant. It doesn't have much going on as far as fruit, but it does have flowers. Earth Angel has been a standout in this row. Tons of flowers. Not having a problem with heat set at all. It's also chartreuse. Elbonian Hip Deep. Tons of flowers. It is not having a problem setting in the heat either. Not dropping blossoms. Really impressed so far. Blackfire needs tied up. Not producing a single flower cluster yet. Oh, I'm a liar. First flower cluster, and it doesn't look great. Sweet Baby Jade has flowers on and fruit on. Looking all right. Cherokee White Tiger has some nice looking fruits, some flowers. It doesn't look like the heat really caused it too much stress. This is Dwarf Buddy's Heart. As you can see from the bottom leaves, it is having some trouble with the heat. And as you can see up here, we are having blossom drop from that heat as well. This is a Rust Crow cross. It's not stable yet, but it is doing pretty good with the heat. We even have a nice size fruit on with a little bit of anthocyanin and striping showing. Dwarf Howard's Railroad, also having some disease issues. Not dropping blossoms though, and it's taller than I anticipated with the other Dwarf Tomato Project varieties. So we'll see what happens with it. Let's see. Dwarf Allies July is variegated, and it's holding its variegation in my high sun area, which is not usual. Not seeing much as far as fruits on, but we are having flowers set. This is an off type I found last year from the Dwarf Tomato Project. Craig said I could go ahead and grow it out and name it, but I needed to compare it to the parent to make sure it didn't revert back. So for working purposes, this is Dwarf Little Jane, and this is Dwarf Summertime Green. I do have fruit on this plant, where this one has just started putting off flowers. So a difference to note at the beginning anyway. Most of these rows are just dill, sunflowers, zinnias, and marigolds. Pretty variegated sunflower. This is Toriel's Strawberry, F4. It needs trimmed up and tied up, but it's doing well. All of these, which I'll show from the other side, are stick crosses in F2. We do have some fruits on this set. You can kind of see how easy it is to get many in one area. In Tomato Row A, this is an unstable, something I've just given a temporary name, belongs to Russ Crowe. We do have some small fruits on in the expected heart shape. Next door is my selection of Russ's fruit. And it's a little later to setting flowers, but it does have fruit on from the other side. Tom's Yellow Wonder is a late planting and just now getting flowers, but it looks like it's doing great. Toadbush Pink. Pretty plant. Not a lot as far as fruit goes yet, but a lot of flowers. It does look like it has had some trouble setting in the high heat, so I'm sure those will drop. Magico. Same thing, not seeing a lot of fruit yet, but there are flowers and it doesn't look like it's struggling with the heat. Bill Yoder's Blasphemous Rumors have some pretty large fruit on as it was early to set. Dotson's Lebanese Heart, a wispy plant, expected for a heart, but not putting off a lot of flowers. Hopefully now with it cooling down a bit this week, it'll improve. Big Malacca. If this guy took, which it looks like it did, we're gonna have a very, very large fruit. Looks like a triple, maybe 4. That's exciting. Campbell's 28 Yellow. It is still pumping out flowers. Not seeing a lot of fruit set yet. Lil's Favorite, a late planting, so it's much smaller than its neighbors. White Lightning, Not doing a whole lot, not super impressed, but we'll see and keep opinions for later. I can never pronounce this. It, however, has enjoyed pumping out fruit and flowers and just keeps going. Really happy with it. Habro Heart F3 belongs to a Tomato Junction member from Hawaii, Mark Thompson. It is slow going, but we do have flowers that have started to appear, so that's a good sign. Excited to see how those look. This part of the garden gets less sun in the afternoon, so plants are smaller. This guy has been unimpressive. Burgermeister belongs to Bill Jeffers. It has been very slow, not doing a whole lot. I think the seeds that I received may have been old. They did not come from Bill. Greenbush is an Italian tomato that was brought to Madison, Wisconsin. It does have little fruit on. Looks like a nice sauce. However, it is struggling with our heat. Disappointing, but hopefully it'll make a comeback. This is the row that contains my Casey's Cross plants. There are 14 of them, I believe. And they're marked by a little red truck below. They are beasts and they are producing massive amounts of leaves and flowers. We do have some fruit on, some more beefsteak in shape, while others are more blunt heart. We have some mega blooms that are still setting. This is, I believe, the largest fruit we have so far, but it has that blunt heart shape. There's not much to mention about these other than when they start ripening fruits. When we come to the end of those, a late planting of Cuckless Portuguese Heart. It is putting off flowers, but it looks like it may be having some trouble. Mrs. Bacon is having no trouble at all and happily producing more fruit as more flowers are put off. Pennsylvania Dutch, grown in honor of my grandparents. It is got a little fruit, but a lot are dropping from the heat. Dixie Wine, a later planting, looking good overall. Pixie Fire. We got some little fruits in the center. Torpedo shaped, very thin plant. I'm not sure what's going on with Moya. It looks crazy. Thinking I have some bad seed, and that's all right. Prince Cherokee Baby belongs to Tom Wagner. It is setting fruit and dropping fruit. This group seems to be doing a little bit better. Otherwise, this is probably one of the oldest plants in the garden, so it's pretty disappointing on how spindly it is. Hopefully, it'll take off when temperatures kind of even out. Down here in the next row, we have Taterkin. Tons and tons of flowers. Very tiny fruits have set. Hoping this does really great. I love a good potato leaf. Grandpa Willie, little bit shorter in size, but putting off a lot of flowers as well. Next door, it's family member Grandpa Charlie. Same thing. Looks like we might have a couple of blossoms dropped. Reckless Wheels. It does have fruit on. Tupelo Honey right now might be the craziest plant in the garden. It has 14 fruits already, which is far out competing everybody else here. Linwood. This plant was normal. It was planted outside, went into a blind, and then came out of blindness. So it's a little behind compared to others, but it is putting off flowers. Matsu Express. This thing is doing pretty well, even though it was bred for cooler climates. Lots of flowers. There has been some dropping. Moyawan has the fruit on. Otherwise, just pretty standard of a plant. Moya Noir. This one has no fruit on yet. Maybe it'll be a late surprise. Sun Gold Green. Tons of flowers. Fruit on. Looks like it's doing pretty well. Moonchild F7 does have fruit on. Plants look pretty good. They're shorter than others. Hazel Creek Potato Leaf. Unfortunately, this guy is going to have a problem with heat. It has been pretty extreme here, but you can see in various flowers it is going to drop them. Marge's Polish Pride. This is loaded with flowers. Unfortunately, it cannot set them at the heat that we've been at. So hopefully it keeps producing more flowers and they will set. Lotus. Lots of flowers. Looking like we've got some problems setting here as well. But we do have fruit on. Definitely not the bushiest plant, but definitely not doing great with the heat. Black Moldovan Elephant Regular Leaf. This plant has set fruit. I received these seeds from a friend in Lithuania, so it may just be struggling to acclimate to the temperatures here. Victor 1918 definitely looks like the same problem setting in heat. Sunflower, oddly enough, has no flowers yet. Meatball, this was listed as possibly unstable, and I would assume that it is. I look to have some striping. We'll see if it hangs on. Nice size fruits, small plant. So we'll see how it goes. Young Strickler competition seeds. I know we were interested in the mega bloom that it had. It looks like its other blooms did not set. They're a little too yellow, but I can't tell if this mega bloom is gonna take or not. Doesn't look like it's totally yellowing, so I guess we'll be on standby. It's on a very, very thick stem. don't even know how many flowers that is. Second to last row. First plant is Ronaldo. My son picked it because it's a similar name to his favorite soccer player. Lots of flowers showing up. Big plant, no fruits yet. Killer tomatoes. Last year I purchased a VHS tape off eBay that still contained the seeds for the movie, and we have fruit on. So fun to bring a little something back. Iva's purple rust. Lots of flowers. Not looking the healthiest. Had to cut away quite a lot from underneath as it was dealing with some disease issues. Gordy might be the wimpiest plant, and yet we have a fruit on. Black malachite box. You can see we've got a little disease going on, but we do have fruits on. Mark Charlie. Does not look like it is struggling at all to set flowers in the heat. This one had to have been set in the last week when it's been the hottest. Same with this guy down here. Really impressed so far. Had to grow it. It was, name is my husband's name and his grandpa's name put together. Moya Vert. Not seeing any, oh, I see a little baby fruit down there. I'll have to keep an eye on it. Berg. Definitely struggling with the heat. It will be cooling down. Hopefully it improves. Terracotta cherry. Lots of flowers. Doesn't look like it's struggling in the heat. Quite a few fruits, however, it's an unstable variety. My fruits are various shapes, so probably pretty early unstable. We'll see how it tastes. If it tastes good, I'll probably keep working with it. If not, I'll just dump it off. Belinda. Nice fruit sets. Lots of flowers still setting. Fred SGDB. We have fruit on. Looking pretty good. Correspondent. This plant has a couple small fruits on. Overall, it's a really large plant for very little fruit set. Gildo Petroboni. I was really looking forward to this guy for the flavor, but we have no fruit. We're struggling with disease. It looks like where flowers might be setting. Hopefully, I'd like to try it. Coffin, not much is known about this variety other than the man who passed it on to somebody else had the last name of Coffin. Looks like it is struggling a bit in the heat, but it still is also setting some. Has a good sized fruit down below. Bell Amity. Has some fruits on. Pretty. Not a very tall plant. It's about waist high right now, but it is struggling with the heat. Bottle of LeFou. Definitely struggling with heat. does have fruit on, so that's good at least. Bulgarian Old Sort, no name. No fruits on, but we do have flowers. Chuck's Yellow. This one has been pumping out flowers like nobody's business while it's been hot, but it cannot set them at this heat. So hopefully it recovers and puts off just as many flowers. Phantom du Laus, Ghost of Laus. We do have a fruit on. Not much else happening. Scary Larry is a saucer. And we don't look like we're having any trouble with blossom end rot, so can't imagine we would with no rain. Barbastros Rosa. Again, yellow blossoms, but it looks like some might have taken. Little Miss Dixie. Really thin plant. Really not doing as well as its sibling Tex Wine in the heat for me. It does have somewhere in here a couple little baby fruits. Really tiny, really cute. The last row. To check it out, belongs to Bill Yoder. Setting a lot of fruits, not having a problem in the heat. You can see the early antho at the tops of the fruit. I don't actually see any blossoms that look like they're dropping. This belongs to Bill Jeffers. Again, I don't see much in the way of blossom drop, lots of flowers. And we have some fruits on. Also belongs to Bill Jeffers. This one is in 2 leaf types. Nice fruit on. We are seeing on this one 24/7 green when ripe. We're dropping blossoms from the heat. Important to note. Bill Jeffers. Looks like we're setting. I don't see the signs of drop on this one as much as the others. Amity belongs to Miss S at Tomato Junction. Her first name is Patty. We have some pretty fruits. It doesn't look like we're struggling much. A couple, but that may from being hit off of my cattle panels when it's windy out. Otherwise, nice flowers, good height, healthy plant, not much in the way of disease. Blackfoot does have some fruit on. Not an impressive amount given the size of the plant, but it is setting in the heat well, so that's good to note. Bing, this is the beefsteak Bing, not the cherry. And we have a fruit at the bottom, otherwise not much else. Flowers look like they'll be setting though. Carl's Emslandtraub. Wild plant. Plenty of fruit setting on and hidden around. Slankards. This one not having such a great time with the heat as far as setting or putting off flowers. We will have to see. It's almost at the top of my cattle panels, which is at my shoulder in this row. So hopefully we'll get some yummy fruit from that. It does look like it's struggling a little bit over there with setting. North Elbonian Pinko. This tag's not correct. Doing all right. Setting some fruit. Looks like we're dropping a little bit. Chocolate brownies. Lots of flowers. Quite a lot of fruit on the other side. It was the first fruit to set in the garden, so I'm expecting it'll be the first to be able to have it. Daniels, a super late start. I wasn't able to get seeds that plant started right away, so I had to get another set. But the plants look great. There's 2 of them down there. Steamboat Annie, really having a hard time, which is disappointing. This plant is out of Texas. So the yellow blossoms are all going to drop. It looks like the last couple days it may be pulling its act together. Hopefully it recovers. Southern Vintage belongs to Tom Wagner. There's 2 plants here. One is a fuzzy potato leaf. Almost so fuzzy that it looks like it's got snow on it or something. And then a regular leaf non-fuzzy plant. The non-fuzzy does have a large heart-shaped striped fruit on the other side. Cherokee Sky. These are among the oldest plants in the garden. We do have 1 fruit on. I have no information about this from him. I don't think he knows anymore. We'll see what happens. Horse Heaven Hills F1 also belongs to Tom Wagner. We have fruit on. Small plants, which isn't always a bad thing. It's also getting to the spot in the garden with a little less sun. Bransky belongs to Tom Wagner. Again, one of the oldest plants in the garden, so disappointing to not see more growth. Secret Treasures of Eternity. I thought this plant was killed after a storm. It's made a miraculous recovery, which is great. Daniel Burson is not having trouble setting in the heat. He's setting fruit and putting them off. Pretty plant. Domaine de Saint Beauregard, small plant. Just putting off some flowers now. Schellenberg's Favorite is struggling at the heat. Not much to mention otherwise. Emmy of Transylvania. We have fruit on. Very stocky plant. Looks like it could have some striping maybe, but I think it's supposed to be a yellow tomato, so we'll have to see. I picked about a handful of beans out of this bed. There's blue ribbon, bush bean, scuba, early bush Italian, and blooming prairie over here. I had to replant this because we had a really bad windstorm and it blew part of my soil and all the seeds away. Cucumbers are really starting to take off. Celeriac, oregano that the squirrels planted some sunflowers in. More celeriac, or parcel, I'm sorry, coming up. Cucumbers, rosemary, cucumbers, a bed that needs weeded, and a bed waiting for Owen's plants. I wanted to finish with taking a slow walk across the front of the garden. This is week 7 after planting. Everything's looking pretty good.